While I'm faffing around down here in Great Portland Street Underground Station, the real high point of this video is the BT Tower, the former post office tower, which looms above the streetscape I'm about to walk through. At the time of recording, in February 2024, it had just been sold to a hotel chain, which definitely put paid to the idea of visiting at the moment. But I'm old enough to have visited in 1965 when it opened, and during our visit my mum bought me a set of postage stamps. This started me off on a stamp collecting hobby which served me until my teenage years. But enough of me. Down here we're in the former Portland Road station, which opened as part of the very first underground railway in the world on the 10th of January 1863. And the next station along the line is the former Gower Street station, now Euston Square, which opened on the same day. As we exit Great Portland Street, ahead of us is the Green Man pub, formerly the Farthing Pie House. It was called the Farthing Pie House as mutton pies could be brought here for a farthing. When it was established in 1708, the area was rural and the surroundings were farm fields and pleasure gardens. In 1809 it was renamed the Green Man. In 2019 the cheapest pie on the menu was ascertained to be the Woodland Mushroom and Ale, which cost £10.99. As there were over 960 farthings to £1 sterling, the nominal price of a pie here had risen by a factor of over 10,000. We're over now at the top end of Cleveland Street. Cleveland Street follows an old track that marked the former parish border, now the boundary between Westminster and Camden. Its oldest name, recorded in 1632, was Wrastling Lane. On Rock's map, dating from the 1750s, it is labelled the Green Lane. I've marked my current position with a star. Green Lane would stretch along the line of modern Cleveland Street. We'd be east of the Farthing Pie House and opposite Bilson's farm on the other side of the future Euston Road, which is not yet in existence. To our west would be the delightful sounding Marylebone Gardens, roughly where the north end of Harley Street would be now. To our east, Tottenham Road. But back to the modern map. Here's the walking route today. We'll traverse 3 streets which gave their names to underground stations, and 4 if you count Gower Street, which was the original name for Euston Square. Anyway, back to jolly old Cleveland Street. We've got a bit of roadworks in the way here, which causes the street to be quite quiet. And no doubt you'll be able to spot the BT Tower, which we will feature quite a lot during this walk. So the fact that we'll be doing this means we can ignore it now. And we walk down the very start of Warren Street, which is one of the very few older streets named after women, which was Anne Warren, who was the wife of Mr. Fitzroy. When I say Mr. Fitzroy, I mean Charles Fitzroy, who was the first Baron Southampton and the local landowner, and he was responsible for the development of the area. His grandfather had built the new road, the Euston Road. This is the delightful Warren Mews, which, well, it's, when I say it's a typical London mews, it sort of is, but not many London mewses have a big communications tower looming over them, but this one does. When I say it's typical, it's not obviously typical. All mewses are completely different. It's that delightful off-street country ambience. During 1791, Fitzroy went to work building Warren Street here, along the line of a rough track, which served a variety of houses along the new road, the Euston Road, built by his granddad. So the BT Tower looms above us. It's previously known as the GPO Tower, in my day the Post Office Tower, and the Telecom Tower, but whatever it's called, it's 177 metres high, and there's a further section of aerials right at the top, bringing the total height to 191 metres. Hey, you like trivia, don't you? And this is some trivia. It was designed by the architects of the Ministry of Public Building and Works, who were Edward Bedford and G.R. Yates. Its primary purpose was to support the microwave aerials, which were then used to carry telecoms traffic from London to the rest of the country. But now it's going to be a big hotel. And this is one of those fine London squares. This is Fitzroy Square. It is still named after Charles Fitzroy, the Southampton guy. When I say Southampton guy, let's have a look at his title again. First Baron Southampton. Sorry for being disrespectful, sir. Yet another home to the gadabout Virginia Woolf. She gets everywhere. Well, who's this geezer? I hear you ask. This is the Venezuelan hero Francisco de Miranda. And this is the Indian YMCA, which I know very little about. He actually did quite a lot. He fought in the American Revolutionary War, and then took part in the French Revolution and the Spanish-American Wars of Independence. So he's one of the founders of South America, as we know and love it. So we're heading off into the heart of what used to be much better known as Fitzrovia. I guess it still is, but it's sort of merged into other areas as a name. And down there it will eventually become Charlotte Street. Charlotte Street used to be the heart of Fitzrovia, and this was quite a German area. There was some quite notable German language institutions and pubs, of which this is one. Let's dive left here along the delightfully named Chitty Street. Though we won't linger for long, we're going to get down to Tottenham Street via, well, quite a modern mews. This is Charlotte Mews, and the buildings here, as in most mewses, would serve the houses of Charlotte Street on the right here, and Whitfield Street on the left. So that's us rejoining Tottenham Street, and again there's a lot of roadworks everywhere at the moment, which does cause a lot less traffic, so we can walk in the middle of the road like this, but it's a bit ugly. And that's Heels, I think, ahead on Tottenham Road, but we're gonna again change direction and hang a right here because we got something to take a look at. This is the alas closed Pollocks Toy Museum, which was started in 1956. Scala Street here, by the way, was named after the Scala Theatre, which used to be here. So alas, in January 2023 the owners announced that they hadn't secured a new lease on the building and they were looking for a new venue, so all the toys have gone into storage. More roadworks, perhaps they're laying fibre optic here or something, because it seems to be the whole area. I guess if I read those signs I could tell you. So again, one of the pubs of Fitzrovia. This one on the right is actually called the Fitzrovia. Walking up to Torrington Road, we are now on Goodge Street, which is one of the roads I mentioned no, they're not named after. The underground stations are named after the roads. What am I talking about? I'm going mad. I've always liked the name Goodge Street. And there's a Monopoly shop over the road there. Right, we're going to have a little bit of a map break. I was saying a bit earlier that Charles Fitzroy and the area named after him, Fitzrovia, had faded as a name, but I've decided I was wrong. Anyway, we were emerging opposite the Monopoly store here, which I've circled in red, and this is the modern Google map. And next we will traverse North Crescent which is coming up, and we can see that it's matched by a south crescent further south on Saw Street, which you only notice when you're actually looking at a map. And I've marked in purple here Windmill Street, which we're going to go back in time to the 1750 map from John Rock. And if you stare at Windmill Street, you'll see it's Windmill Street on his map as well. Middlesex Hospital at the end of the street. But we can see that this part of Tottenham Court Road was quite the centre of the settlement here. Anyway, back to the modern map, and we'll continue our walk. So we could have been doing a London tube walk from Great Bolton Street to Goodge Street, because we're just about to almost pass it, but there's no such walk. So we'll carry on. This is North Crescent, which was developed by the architect George Dance in the early 19th century. It was part of a supposedly prestige development of this small estate. But by the late 19th century it was obviously not as prestigious as the developers had hoped. So this is RADA, where bright young things learn to be actors. So lots of famous thespians have trod the boards in there. We're now going to wind our way over to Gower Street. These are all fine residential streets, and this is the first of them, Huntley Street.
Jeśli w ogóle, to ja mu w tym momencie zwrócę na to uwagę.
To on powiedział do pani, że tam was jest czwórka. A ja mówię do niego, no tu jest, no. A widziałem,
She's in my fire last year.
University College was founded in 1826. But one of the interesting things about University College, apart from all of its academic prowess and all the people who studied there, is that the 18th century philosopher Jeremy Bentham bequeathed it a large sum of money, and this was on the condition that his skeleton was preserved and displayed every year at the annual general meeting. So every year his mummified body is taken along to the AGM, enclosed in a mahogany case with folding glass doors, and he's seated in an armchair and holds his favourite walking stick. So you can visit Jeremy Bentham in all his glory. This is one of the hidden London tours which I just came across as I was approaching Euston Square station. Anyway, thanks for watching today. We've done a bit of Fitzrovia, a bit of BT Tower, and some of the back streets behind Tottenham Court Road and Gower Street. See you on the next walk.